The gift. The Vexari ships appeared in Earth's orbit on an otherwise ordinary Tuesday morning in 2149. 7 massive vessels, each shaped like elongated diamonds with surfaces that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. For 3 days, they hovered silently, responding to no hails, making no moves. The world held its breath. Captain Maya Santos stood on the observation deck of the International Space Station Artemis, her dark eyes fixed on the alien fleet. Behind her, the hastily assembled first contact team. Scientists, linguists, military officers whispered among themselves. "I don't like this waiting game," muttered Admiral Chen, coming to stand beside her. "What are they doing up there?" "Taking our measure," Maya replied. She'd been hand-picked to lead humanity's response team, her background in xenolinguistics and tactical operations making her uniquely qualified for a job no one had ever done before, and deciding if we're worth talking to. On the 4th day, a single shuttle detached from the largest ship. It descended toward the United Nations Emergency Assembly in Geneva, where representatives from every nation had gathered. Maya and her team were recalled from orbit to attend. The Vexari emerged from their shuttle, tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin that shifted colors like oil on water. They moved with unsettling grace, as though gravity barely affected them. Their leader introduced himself as Supreme Commander Zexus, his voice a melodic series of clicks and whistles that the hastily assembled translation computers rendered into flat, emotionless English. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Vexari Imperium," Zexus announced to the hushed assembly. "We have observed your species' development with interest. You have progressed quickly from planetary confinement to orbital habitation. This marks you as potentially worthy." The diplomatic niceties lasted 3 hours. The Vexari answered questions selectively, revealing little about themselves while gathering much about Earth. Then Zexus made his announcement. "As a token of our goodwill, we offer a gift to humanity." A hologram appeared above the assembly floor, a massive starship, easily 3 kilometers long. This vessel, the Harbinger, was once a pride of our exploration fleet. Though it has served its primary purpose for us, it may help accelerate your understanding of interstellar travel principles. The world celebrated. Headlines proclaimed a new era of cosmic fellowship. Politicians spoke of the generosity of our new alien friends. But Maya Santos felt cold dread pooling in her stomach as she stared at the hologram of the ship. "You see it too, don't you?" Dr. Eli Kazan whispered beside her. The Israeli physicist had been skeptical from the beginning. "That's not a gift. It's a test, or a trap." 2 weeks later, Maya led the first human team aboard the Harbinger, which the Vexari had positioned in lunar orbit before departing with promises to return in 1 Earth year to evaluate our progress. The exterior of the ship bore the scars of ancient battles, hull breaches patched with different materials, burn marks from weapons fire, entire sections that appeared to have been rebuilt. Inside, the vessel was a labyrinth of shadowy corridors, cavernous chambers, and technology beyond human comprehension. The air carried a faint metallic tang that their environmental suits couldn't quite filter out. Every surface was covered in a material that resembled obsidian but felt warm to the touch. "This isn't just old," said Chief Engineer Fatima Okoro, running her gloved hand along a wall. "It's ancient. And these repair patches, they're from different eras, different technologies. Like it's been passed down," Maya mused, "or passed around." "Captain," called Lieutenant Jackson, their tech specialist. "You need to see this." In what appeared to be the bridge, Jackson had managed to activate a console. Streams of alien script scrolled across its surface. It's partially responding to our presence, but most systems are locked down tight. They require some kind of biological key. Maya studied the flowing symbols. "Can you access any historical data?" "Ship's logs." "Working on it. The architecture is, it's like nothing I've..." "Wait." Jackson's fingers flew across his adaptive interface. "I think I've got something." It's fragmentary, but the holographic display flickered to life, showing a different alien species, stockier than the Vexari, with mottled green skin and 4 arms. They moved frantically around the very bridge where Maya's team now stood. Alerts flashed across the screen. Then a massive explosion, and a recording cut out. What was that? Admiral Chen demanded over the comm link from Earth. I believe, Maya said slowly, we just watched the previous owners of this ship die. Over the following weeks, more teams arrived to study the Harbinger. A temporary habitat was constructed inside one of the larger bays. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, trying to unlock the vessel's secrets. Dr. Kazan discovered the first booby trap, a power coupling that would have overloaded catastrophically if activated according to standard human engineering principles. There were others: radiation emitters concealed in crew quarters, navigation systems that would have sent the ship plunging into the sun if engaged, and atmospheric processors designed to synthesize compounds toxic to human biology. They wanted us to fail, Maya reported to the UN Security Council, 3 months into the project. This ship wasn't given to help us. It was designed to kill anyone who tried to operate it without Vexari biological signatures. But why? Asked the Secretary General. What purpose would that serve? Control, replied Admiral Chen grimly. They're testing to see if we're clever enough to detect the dangers without being advanced enough to overcome them. We're meant to either blow ourselves up or come crawling back begging for help. The council was divided. Some wanted to abandon the project. Others suggested confronting the Vexari when they returned. President Okafor of the African Union raised her hand for silence. What does Captain Santos recommend? Maya took a deep breath. We take their test and break it. We don't just make this ship operational. We make it ours. We show the Vexari that humanity doesn't just survive. We adapt and overcome. Thus began Project Lazarus, named for the biblical figure who rose from the dead. The brightest minds from every nation were recruited. The ship became a melting pot of human ingenuity as traditional rivals worked side by side. Dr. Kazan led the team that cracked the Vexari power systems, discovering that what they had thought was the main reactor was actually a self-destruct mechanism. The true power source was buried deep within the ship's structure, a device that extracted energy from quantum fluctuations in a way that defied Earth physics. Fatima Okoro's engineering team bypassed the biometric locks by developing synthetic interfaces that mimicked Vexari neural patterns just enough to fool the ship's security systems. When they finally gained access to the main computer, Lieutenant Jackson discovered something shocking. The Harbinger isn't just a ship, he explained, projecting his findings in the command center they'd established. It's a seed. The Vexari have done this at least 27 times before with different species across the galaxy. A seed for what? Maya asked. Extinction. Jackson pulled up alien star charts with dozens of systems marked in red. These species all received gifts like ours. In every case, when they tried to activate the main drive systems, the ship destroyed them and their homeworlds. Kazan finished. But why? What do the Vexari gain? Maya was studying the data with narrowed eyes. Resources. Look at the timeframes. Each extinction event is followed by Vexari mining operations in those systems. They're not conquerors, they're scavengers. They let technology do their dirty work, then swoop in to pick the bones. The revelation lent new urgency to their work. With 6 months remaining before the Vexari's promised return, Maya implemented what she called the Phoenix Protocol, a complete reimagining of the Harbinger's purpose. Breakthroughs came in unexpected ways. A quantum physicist from Nigeria figured out how to reprogram the ship's matter configuration systems. A teenager from Seoul developed an algorithm that could translate the deeper layers of the operating system. An engineer from Brazil discovered that human brainwave patterns, properly amplified and synchronized, could override the Vexari biological locks. 4 months before the deadline, they achieved their first major success. The navigation systems came fully online, responding to human commands. 2 weeks later, They successfully reactivated the life support system throughout the entire vessel. Then came weapons, shields, and finally, the drive system, not just repaired but enhanced with human innovations that the Vexeri had never imagined. The ship began to transform. Where once there were Vexeri control interfaces requiring their six-fingered hands, now there were stations calibrated for human operation. The oppressive darkness of the interior was replaced with lighting that mimicked Earth's natural spectrum. They even managed to neutralize the metallic tang in the air. But the most significant change came when they discovered the ship's true potential. The quantum energy source at the heart of the Harbinger wasn't just meant for propulsion. It could be focused outward as a weapon of unimaginable power. It's designed to create localized singularities, Dr. Kazan explained, his voice hushed with awe. Temporary black holes that consume whatever they touch before collapsing back into energy. A star killer, Admiral Chen said grimly. Maya nodded. And if we hadn't found it, it would have activated the moment we tried to engage the main drive. The singularity would have consumed Earth. 1 month before the Vexeri's scheduled return, the Harbinger, now rechristened the Phoenix, was ready. No longer a derelict trap, it had become humanity's greatest achievement, a vessel that combined the most advanced alien technology with human innovation and safeguards. As Maya stood on the bridge, now illuminated by warm light and staffed by a crew wearing the unified Earth Space Force uniform, she couldn't help but feel a surge of fierce pride. They had taken the Vexeri's deadly gift and turned it into something unprecedented. "Captain," said Lieutenant Jackson, looking up from his station, "long-range sensors are picking up warp signatures approaching the solar system. It's them. They're coming back early." Maya straightened her uniform and addressed the bridge crew. "Alert Earth Command. Tell them our visitors have arrived." Her lips curved in a cold smile. "Let's show them what humanity does with scraps." The reckoning. The Vexeri fleet materialized just beyond Mars' orbit. 13 ships this time, arranged in a formation that even the most optimistic human analysts recognized as battle-ready. Their vessels gleamed with the same light-absorbing material as the Harbinger once had, like shards of darkness against. Finally, Zexus spoke. "You have surpassed expectations in some respects, Captain Santos, but you overreach. The Harbinger's core systems require Vexeri biological interfaces to operate safely. Whatever limited functions you've managed to activate, you cannot have mastered the vessel's true capabilities." Maya nodded to Dr. Kazan, who had insisted on being present for this moment. The physicist stepped forward. "Actually, Commander, we found your biological locks fascinating," Kazan said, his Israeli accent more pronounced under stress. "They rely on quantum entanglement with Vexeri neural patterns. Quite elegant, but as it happens, human brains are remarkably adaptable. With the right amplification, our neural oscillations can mimic yours closely enough to fool your security systems." "Impossible," Zexus hissed, abandoning diplomacy. "The genetic keys are bound to Vexeri DNA at the quantum level. And yet here we are." Maya gestured around the bridge. "Your death trap has become our greatest achievement. Perhaps you should reevaluate your assessment of primitive species." Zexus conferred with others off-screen, his movements agitated. When he returned his attention to Maya, his skin had settled into a cold, steady blue. "You have violated Imperium technology protocols. Surrender the vessel immediately, or we will be forced to take action." Maya's expression didn't change. "Mr. Jackson, please send the commander the tactical data package we prepared." A moment later, Zexus received the transmission. His compound eyes widened as he reviewed whatever appeared on his screens. "This is, you cannot have, a complete analysis of your fleet's capabilities, weaponry, and vulnerabilities," Maya confirmed. "We've had months to study your technology, Commander. It's remarkable how much information is stored in your ship's database about your own species." On the tactical display, the Vexeri ships were repositioning, spreading out to surround the Phoenix. "They're charging weapons," Ortiz reported calmly. Maya addressed Zexus again. I wouldn't advise hostile action, Commander. The Phoenix is no longer the vessel you abandoned in our orbit. We've made improvements. Your deception changes nothing, Zexus declared. One obsolete cruiser against 13 capital ships. Your mathematics must be as primitive as your technology. Dr. Kazan, Maya said without taking her eyes off the screen, perhaps a demonstration is in order. Kazan nodded and moved to a console that had once been hidden behind Vexeri encryption. Targeting the uninhabited moon of Deimos. Quantum focus at minimum power, tight containment field. On the view screen, a small aperture opened on the Phoenix's bow. A beam of what looked like concentrated darkness shot forth, crossing the distance to Mars's smallest moon in seconds. Where it struck, the surface of Deimos simply ceased to exist. A perfect hemispherical bite, 3 kilometers across, had been taken out of the moon. The bridge of the Phoenix was silent. On the screen, Zexus stared, his skin rippling through colors so quickly the translation software couldn't process the emotional meanings. As you can see, Maya said quietly, we didn't just repair your traps, Commander. We understood them, and then we improved them. Admiral Chen's voice came through her private channel. Good God, Santos, the Security Council is concerned about this development. As they should be, Admiral, Maya replied, keeping the channel open so Zexus could hear. But they should also be proud. Humanity took a weapon meant for our destruction and mastered it. We've proven ourselves worthy of the stars, not by the Vexeri standards, but by our own. She turned back to Zexus. Your quantum singularity generator was impressive, Commander. But your scientists made it dependent on Vexeri control systems. We removed that limitation. We also discovered that with precise calibration, the effect can be localized, contained, and directed with surgical precision. You cannot control such power, Zexus insisted, but there was uncertainty in his translated voice. The quantum matrices are too complex for primitives like us. Maya smiled thinly. And yet Deimos has a new crater that says otherwise. The tactical display showed the Vexeri ships adjusting their positions again, moving away from the Phoenix, their weapons powering down. Commander, Maya continued, I believe it's time we negotiated properly. As equals, the Phoenix will remain Earth property. Furthermore, we expect reparations for your attempted genocide of our species, as well as information about the other 27 worlds you've attacked. The Imperium does not. The Imperium, Maya interrupted, has two choices. Recognize Earth as a sovereign peer with all the diplomatic respect that entails, or discover whether we've learned to project a quantum singularity beyond our solar system, perhaps to the coordinates of the Vexori homeworld that we found in your database. It was a bluff. The Phoenix couldn't yet target anything beyond visual range, but Zexus couldn't know that. His skin settled into a muted gray. Resignation, according to Dr. Singh's translations. You leave us little choice, Captain. The Imperium acknowledges your achievement. A diplomatic vessel will be dispatched with appropriate authorities to discuss revised relations. We look forward to it, Maya replied. Until then, I suggest your fleet maintains a respectful distance from Earth space. After the transmission ended, the bridge crew remained silent for a long moment. Then Lieutenant Jackson laughed, a sound of disbelief and exhilaration. Did Earth just join the galactic community by threatening to destroy an alien homeworld? Diplomacy takes many forms, Maya said, finally allowing herself to relax slightly, especially when the other party's opening move was attempted extinction. Admiral Chen's voice came through the comm. The Security Council is requesting your immediate return to Earth, Captain. There are many questions about this new weapon. Understood, Admiral. We'll set course immediately. As the Phoenix turned toward Earth, Maya gazed at the view screen. The stars looked different now, no longer distant, unreachable points of light, but potential destinations, potential homes. Dr. Kazan joined her, his expression somber. You know they'll be back, not just with diplomats. They'll study us, learn our weaknesses. The Vexeri have been expanding their imperium for thousands of years. They won't abandon that ambition because of one setback. I'm counting on it, Maya replied. Humanity needed this wake-up call. We've been fighting each other for so long we forgot there might be greater threats among the stars. She gestured around the bridge. This ship is just the beginning. Now we know what's possible. The Phoenix entered Earth orbit 12 hours later to a hero's welcome. News of the confrontation with the Vexari had spread globally. Crowds gathered in major cities, watching massive screens that showed the vessel that had become humanity's shield and sword. 6 months later, the United Earth Space Force commissioned its first entirely human-built vessel, incorporating technology derived from the Phoenix. Within 5 years, a fleet of 20 such ships patrolled the solar system. Research outposts were established on distant moons and asteroids. The first human colony ship departed for Proxima Centauri. The Vexari returned as promised, with diplomats instead of warriors. The treaty they signed recognized Earth's sovereign territory and established formal relations. If their representatives seemed unusually deferential for members of a supposedly superior civilization, few humans complained. As for the Phoenix itself, it remained humanity's flagship, a constant reminder of how close they had come to extinction and how they had transformed a trap into a triumph. Its weapons were rarely demonstrated, but never forgotten. 10 years after first contact, Maya Santos, now Admiral Santos, stood on the observation deck of Earth's first deep space station, watching as a new generation of explorer vessels prepared to venture beyond charted space. "Do you ever regret it?" asked Dr. Kazan, who had joined the expedition as chief science officer, showing them what we could do. "Some say we've started an arms race we can't win." Maya considered the question. In the decades since their confrontation with the Vexari, humanity had advanced technologically at an unprecedented rate, but they had also discovered that the galaxy was far more populous and far more dangerous than they had imagined. "They were going to destroy us, Eli," she said finally. "Not because we threatened them, but because it was convenient, because they could. We showed them and every other spacefaring species that humanity isn't easy prey." She turned to watch as the lead explorer ship, fittingly named Prometheus, powered up its engines. "Besides," she added with a small smile, "we're not trying to win an arms race. We're trying to win our place among the stars, and I'd say we've made a pretty good start." As Prometheus departed, its quantum drive lighting up like a newborn star, Maya thought of the ancient derelict that had arrived as a trap and become their salvation. The Vexari had expected submission or destruction. Instead, they had awakened something they never anticipated: humanity's boundless capacity to adapt, overcome, and transform. They had handed Earth a derelict. Earth had handed them back a warning and a promise. The stars would never look the same again.